Namaste, everyone. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. This is your host, Kushalmehra. All right, time for another book. Today, we're going to be covering a book. The name of the book is Gobind. Submariners are a special brotherhood. Either all come to the surface or no one does. And today, I'm going to be talking with the author of the book, Harinder Sikka ji. He is uh, an Indian Navy veteran. He has a first-hand experience of being part of the military. Obviously, he's also authored a very famous novel previously, which was called Calling Sehmat. If you guys don't know, this novel was adopted into the movie, if I remember, Razi, which had Alia Bhatt and Vicky Kaushal in it. So, Harinder ji, thank you very much for coming and congratulations on the new book.
Thank you so much.
So, I was interested in starting over here. So, obviously, you come from a combat background and a military background. Now, military demands a certain level of regimentation where you need to have a discipline in life. How I can relate to this is my nana was in the army, my nana ji. So I grew up looking at my nana being very disciplined. Everything has to be on time. Everything has to be in a systematized way. And my nana would get very angry if others would not follow the regime. Nana would be like, "Ah, kyun nahi kita?" So I was like, "Sorry, kar dena," kind of a situation. So now writing is a very different, and especially writing fiction or novels and genres like that needs a very if I would come across needs a very relaxed kind of all over the place indisciplined kind of a mindset. So how did you manage to merge the two worlds together?
Well, there's no need to merge. Writing is more disciplined, demanding, challenging than any other thing that I have come across.
Oh, interesting. Can you
I,
explain and elaborate why?
yes, if you write the way I do, you will appreciate, I'm not a professional author, I'm an accidental author. When I began writing Calling Sehmat, I visited Pakistan twice. I need not have gone there because I had much of the data in India. But I needed to put my feet in those shoes to understand how it all happened, risking my life. Now, you don't write books like this. You don't visit Pakistan or enemy territory wearing a turban going to Pakistani army camp. God forbid you had I been caught. They would have made a mincemeat out of me. But to be able to really bring out facts, tweak them, use creative liberty to hide certain things, yet explain everything out, you need to be as close to the truth as possible. You have to feel their character. The next book came as Vichoda. If you've seen Mother India, the film,
Hanji, Nargis sir.
then read Vichoda. What a woman did. How powerful she was when she made that statement that the God residing within me is more powerful than any enemy outside. How did she manage to search her two children she lost in 1955, 60 years later? How did she manage to kill or maim or injure seriously, two in number Pathans who tried to molest her? Because she was absolutely gorgeous looking woman. So comes to Gobind. When I got this data and got this information, got all the means that I had under my command to write a full-fledged book on it, I still went to St. Petersburg. You wanted to know that feel of that turf where you're going to walk, talk, chat. You wanted to go into that submarine over there, and and you wanted to see those people personally, face to face. How honey trapping took place, what all transpired, how an $800 million product India landed up paying $3 billion. You needed to touch it to understand that the paint is wet. You know, it's a natural tendency, but we cut corners. A submarine was sinking. An officer saved it. How did he manage that? Because submariners, they either go down together and surface together, or nobody does. So one fault is all that it takes. So you had to go inside a submarine, inside a Russian submarine to understand that part. So what do? You go to submarine to, you mean to say when you publish a book, whether be it Penguin or anybody, they don't pay you that kind of money that you can gallivant all around and no. So these are not for profit. From Razi, I did not take a penny home. From Nanak Shah Fakir film, which is now viewed by more than 19 crore people on various channels, not a penny comes home. By God's grace, my company takes care of me. So therefore, I tend to write something which is not spoken before, not heard before, not experienced before. How many people know in India? I think not even 1%. I challenge that. That when kushalmehra enjoys fundamental rights, right? You can write to, you have a freedom to write, freedom to speak, freedom to marry. Are you aware that in military, the day you are commissioned, sometimes prior to that, when you're a cadet, you lose the fundamental rights straight away. You do not have right to write or to speak. You do not even have right to marriage. Marry a foreigner, you will be court-martialed. Unfortunate it is that the prime minister of a country can marry a foreigner. Rajiv Gandhi did. Those secret, so-called secret fields, the warship carriers, aircraft carriers, warship aircrafts, aircraft carriers, warships, they are not sometimes open to even the naval officers, serving naval officers, because secrets must not go out. But here we had a prime minister honeymooning on those aircraft carriers. And I'm saying this because I was in the Navy at that time. My course mates, the pilots, were ferrying champagnes to Birmingham Islands on those helicopters which were meant for war. So use and abuse. Did I not write at that time? I did, under a different name. Wanted to tell the world that this is not on. So discipline uh, gets into your system then. You want to take on the world, or you want to take on the leaders, that if you are leader, so-called leader, then behave like a Jawan. Understand that Jawan's pain, every blood drop of blood that he sheds. Because of that Jawan's blood that he sheds, we are living in peace. But no, we use them as expendable commodity. It has happened so far. So Gobind has an essence of everything. He is in love with a foreigner. He is honor bound for his duty. He does get court-martialed, and he takes on the might of mafia. It's based on true events. It is opening to the window to the readers how what can happen in a submarine, and how love can be shattered or kept aside or put aside for the sake of duty.
The one thing that I took away from reading this book is because, so just to give you a brief background, I am a student of moral philosophy. So for me, moral philosophy and all these things always fascinate me. So when I discuss the book with you, I don't want to give the plot away, because my whole intention is through this discussion, people go and read the book and try and understand. But kind of the entire story, in a very weird way, is sort of a trolley problem. Now, to give my listeners and viewers a brief idea of what the trolley problem is, in moral philosophy, this is a classic case where there is a track, there is a track that is coming, and which merges, then splits into two, and that track, you have the hand on the lever. Now, on one side of the track there is one child, on the other side of the track there are five children. Now you have to pull the lever eventually and decide where the track goes, and somebody is going to die. That is the classical trolley problem in moral philosophy. Now, here, through your book, in many ways, right, you are creating a sort of a trolley problem for an armed forces person, right? Is it fair to say this is some sort of a trolley problem, where on one side here is the character, the centrifugal character that falls in love with a person from a nationality that is not his own, and as you rightly said, Indian army personnel cannot marry foreigners. They're not allowed to marry foreigners until they are pursuing active duty for national security reasons, or other reasons per se. Now, in that situation, how does an army man feel about it? Like, I want to get into your head. Like, how would you feel about it?
See, it's not easy. It is never easy. There's been a case when a submariner, a sailor, fell in love with a German girl in Germany. It's an open secret, so I can share it with you. And and he was arrested, brought home. He was punished, penalized, and after that he quit Navy and went back to Germany. But is that correct? My question is that the same rule should then apply to Chief Minister Amarinder Singh. He was sleeping with an enemy literally. That woman who he was sleeping with was connected and related to an ISI operator. We, this country belongs to you, Kushal, as much as it belongs to me. There cannot be different law for you and different law for me. I have questioned this because I know more than what has transpired. Being in defense services, Augusta deal was not a proper deal. It's a publicly known matter. But because we were giving leeway into this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth, chalta hai so-called attitude when it comes to politicians, or we can keep our eyes wide shut. What I've tried to bring three officers the story together, clubbed them into one, and called it Gobind, because one part of the story belongs to me, coming from humble backgrounds. I'm going to want to tell people, not only in Bihar but rest of the country, that if you have mission, aims, military will support you. Military will treat you at par. That is the beauty of military. There's no ST, SC, ST, this, that, and blah, blah. You serve, you're fit, nobody can stop you. That kind of stuff. That is the first aim, to tell the world and tell this to. I see so many under trainees, so many people who are training for military. I'm trying to tell them that look, if you have Josh in you, if you have the willpower, this service will make an officer out of you. That is one part of life. Second was to tell the system, the government, that why it is always so easy and done so beautifully without any questions asked. Look, if there's an offense happening, if there's a crime happening, if there's some kind of an issue taking place like it happened in Russia, an officer is picked up and court-martialed and done. What about the bureaucrats? You mean to say one in number officer did it? No. Entire system down the line is feeding into that. Why we let them go? Kargil war took place because of why? Who? Who was gallivanting? Who was abusing? Who was misusing? We lost 500 people. We have not got to the bottom of it. You mean to say one in number brigadier who was court-martialed and thrown out was responsible? No, we were responsible. For decades on, the Kashmir Valley has been funded by none less than Congress directly, up to 6 to 8 thousand crores every year, not to stop terror, but to keep it alive. The proof of this is that Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh felicitated Yashin Malik. That Yashin Malik who killed two in number senior Air Force officers at point blank range. How do you say that we will not be demoralized? I'm questioning this because you are not bigger than me and I'm not bigger than you. You play politics with me, then I'm questioning. This is what it is all about. Fortunately, I'm not praising nobody. I have written against you name it. I've questioned, but I cannot question Prime Minister Modi in this. That gentleman goes to borders and celebrates Diwali with the lowest possible staff or sipahi. It doesn't happen in my country in a hurry. Those people are not going to vote for him. It is boosting their morale. How many others do it? So if I'll speak it twice, you'll say, "Oh, I'm right winger or this winger or that winger." It's not that. For your
Uh,
information, sir, it is important. When the Salab took place in 2014 in Kashmir, there was only one officer and one company, Piramal Group, which I represented, went to Kashmir with the 12 in number massive water treatment plants, and with the collaboration with Cabinet Secretariat, and I was given C-117, the huge giant aircraft, who helped me establish those plants in nook and corner of the valley, not the state government. Nobody was willing to carry those huge, massive plants, which will dispense 5,000 liters of water per hour. They're still functioning, by the way, 10 years later. I found some volunteers came to me. They joined one after the other, total about 28 in number. Later on, they combined, and they installed it on the gurdwaras, on the masjids, on the mandirs, and two in the aircraft in the Air Force head offices there. Why? Because these places were on the high location, and people would line up because water was everybody's need. Everything was flooded and dead animals in the water and so on and so forth. Nobody was willing to take that water. I later on found out they were from RSS, and we blame RSS for everything. And I gave them a little. I said, "You have separatists over here. They should be nullified." I'm a soldier. I don't hesitate. That's why I said I write in my books in those many manner. And those people responded to me, "No, we don't do these things."
hmm.
Our country is huge, wonderful country, amazing country. 10,000 years ago, the country became Hindustan, Mahadweep, Bharat Mahadweep. We did not make tens of hundreds of other nations. 1700 years ago, Christianity came. There are 100 countries which are Christian. 1400 years ago, Islam was born. There are 56 Islamic countries today. We never did it. We are proud of our nation. This must be explained through text, which is missing in my school books, college books, and history books. Gobind covers in a nutshell: no caste, no creed, India first.
So Govind is placed in Bihar. Can I ask you why you chose Bihar? The centrifugal character Gobind, right? He's from Bihar, right? Aapki puri
Yeah.
story is about Gobind being from Bihar. So why did you decide Bihar as a spot?
My parents came from Pakistan,
Okay.
refugees. I was born in 58. we settled in Delhi, in Katra Shivaji, the Punjabiya, under a tin roof. But when I visited Bihar, I realized that those people may not have come from camps or from Pakistan or stayed in, but they were in a more pitiable condition. Yet I found children doing binary on sand. Yet I found that they were brilliant children, capable of, they were dreaming. They all thought that they should become IAS officers. Many of them are becoming. They all thought that they should aim for to become IFS and so on and so forth, IPS, and they were becoming. The schools being run there, the colleges being run there, free of cost, free of charity. So I fell in love with that place because my mother used to tell me when I was joining Indian Navy in 1979 that Guru Gobind Singh Ji taught us if you're fighting an enemy, there should be no wound on your back. Take it on the chest. This is what message she gave me when I was going in the train to Cochin to join my academy. Where is Guru Gobind Singh Ji born? Patna. So
Yes.
I began the story there to tell the world that Sikhs are part of Hindustan. Every Hindu family gave the first child to become a Sikh to fight Mughals. We are not separate. We are Sikhs and we are not Khalistanis. So in this book, I've not used these words, but I've tried to imply that country comes first, come what may. It should not only be us that the country comes first. Those who lead us don't think like this. And I've suffered at their hands. I've suffered 1984. Captain Upinder Singh Jassal, my schoolmate, was burnt in uniform alive, and his killer is still roaming free. So these things must be understood that in the name of secularism, you're destroying the fiber of my country. You call it revolt, so be it. But through the book, I'm trying to say that all these things will happen to a human being. You got to maintain your balance, show to the world that, look, this is wrong, it is not acceptable. The God will listen, humans may not. And in our case, only God is listening in the case of India. Otherwise, 370 would not have gone.
Mm.
In our case, sir, I my second hometown is Kashmir. I visit that place so often. The women over there are more proud than ever before. They can breathe. You're giving them freedom. Which Islamic country does that to them today? That is what I'm proud of. Calling Samat was a Muslim, and and she would say very proudly that country comes first. I'm sorry, Abdul, but my country comes first. So Muslims, all Muslims are not traitors, but those who are, they need to be told that you are. So when Dr. Manmohan Singh met Yashin Malik inside Prime Minister's office and hugged him and had whatever with him, fed him and whatever, it was insult to armed forces. And when he met or spoke to, not met, Sahmat and said that I would like to give you some award, Padma. She says, no. If the nature grants me, God grants me karma, there cannot be a better reward. Very beautiful line. sell our souls for these Padma awards and what have you. Not too long ago, they were available for cost. I'm again saying that I'm an accidental author. But Jeffrey Archer's agent, when I met Jeffrey Archer, it was written to me that the writing in your book is missing. It took me 7 days to understand what the hell has he written. Finally, I asked him, and he says that it's all passion which has flown, it's all love which has flown. You've not written it. So the fact of the matter is, sir, that we have all kinds of saints in this place, and every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. We need to understand this. We need to push our foot down, zero tolerance on nonsense. Nobody can touch us. Gobind shows the way.
So, but what do you make now? You've obviously spoken about Khalistan in a passing reference. Also, irony of irony, sir, आपका कनाडा में आना तो बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाना.
No, it is not so. No, 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 no. You'll be very surprised, sir. Nanak Shah Fakir was released in Canada,
Hmm.
in the hub of Burma, of where Khalistanis were,
In Brampton.
in Brampton. And Arif Zakaria, who played Mardana's role, he was, um, uh, take it as seriously as I'm saying, kidnapped from airport and taken to home. And वो Arif tells me, मुझे खिला खिला के मार दिया,
Eh?
इतना प्यार दिया. They love me so much that I'm playing Mardana's role. No, uh, you talk to them. The reason why a handful are ruling the roost. When you land up in in Canada, and Brampton is the first port to city downtown, you find a row of houses, small houses, one bedroom each. You're put in there. Oh, you've come as a student. You have no money or less money. We'll fund it for you. So gurdwaras are used. Khalistanis use that to convert people. Okay. In gurdwaras, you find all kinds of Khalistanis pictures on the wall. So you ask them this question: are we worshipping Guru Nanak or Khalistanis? What are we doing in this gurdwara? So people understand it's not that majority of Sikhs are become Khalistanis, but those who they have a reason to do that. They think that यहाँ पर बस गए, यहीं पर बहुत आसानी से पैसा आ रहा है. The drug money flies from from gurdwaras in Punjab to gurdwaras down there and becomes white here and it becomes white there. It's a hunky-dory situation. Gobind, the purpose of writing Gobind was that I need to tell uh, the younger generation that you are growing up. If you have a dream, the Almighty will fulfill. All prayers are answered. It's up to your determination. A boy who was pulling two in number bulls and tilling the land, he dreamt of what? He could have become an IAS officer. And he said, no, I have to serve the nation in a different manner. That school was willing to sponsor him for everything. He says, no, I want to do this. For training, he'd never visited back because I don't want to, you know, disorient myself. So, when we sit in a havan and we do Om Bhur Swaha, that Swaha is the ahuti that you give. It's very age-old tradition. And you think that it is not applicable in Sikhs? Read the books for God's sake. Somebody opens the mind of these Khalistanis. Pratham Bhagoti Simar ke Guru Nanak lai dhyaye. Bhagoti, Ma Bhagavati. Guru Gobind Singh Ji said. So those who are dividing us, they are dividing Gobind first. Aim of the book is to show a love story which happened, to show a, a greed quotient which happened, to show desperation that happened, a submarine sinking that happened, and an officer who stood the test based on real events. Who released it? Amitabh Kant, Admiral Hari Kumar, the Navy chief, and the new Navy chief, Admiral Dinesh Tripathi, and some others. It's a beautiful service, Indian Navy. It's absolutely amazing with that wife of a junior most sailor, if she steps on the gangway, the commanding officer standing on the deck will salute her because she's entitled to that. Beautiful it is. So I have so much to learn from that beautiful Navy that I have served in. And this is the first time ever I'm surprised how and why somebody has written about all this in a story manner. I've taken creative liberties, yes. I've played with the love affair a little more than, you know, uh, made him beat drum in behind behind a temple. Yes, but you got to energize, inject positivity, which acts as a catalyst in that young boy who has a dream, who's living in as much as you know forgotten, god-forsaken place in some village of Bihar, or it can be village of Orissa, or any part of the world for that matter. If you have a dream, my country shall fulfill it.
Now you mentioned the Navy, and obviously you've spent such a giant part of your life in the Indian Navy. I maybe we can. I wanted to focus now the second half of our chat on the military culture itself. How does it feel to be part of the military? The identity behind, uh, like when one joins the army, right? As you said. The emotion one gets is that you're told basically to forget when you step onto the battlefield, as they say, you forget your family, you surrender your family, you forget everything, and you have a singular focus that is defending the nation and its sanctity and territorial integrity. Now, when it comes to situations like that, maybe from an operations perspective, like how does one go about doing this? Like, what are the kinds of discussions that you all have, and is there any mental training involved? Are folks in the army given that kind of mental training where because in many ways it's a suspension of belief, right? You kind of live a very different life when you go back to normal world, and then when you step onto, let's say, a submarine or a warship or any other thing, or on the battlefield, it's a very different kind of a mentality. So what are these training modules that people go through? Because it's very different for an average person to relate to it. Like, they don't understand that kind of sentiment. So maybe we can spend some time on that also, because I think in a way it is kind of related to the book also.
You see, the military training I joined in. I did not join NDA, unfortunately, but I came directly from Indian Naval Academy, and over there, whenever I was a non-swimmer, and they put me up on a 10 feet board and said jump in the deep end, and I tell you, um, I knew heart to heart that something happens, they will save me. All they had was a pole like this which they put it in the center of the uh, in the pool. Jump it. If you're sinking, hold this pole. We'll save you. And I did. Jumped in the very first go. Not everybody does it, but I did. And and that instructor of mine was so confident that I was already a swimmer. Why will I jump so easily? But by the time this training got over, everybody was a swimmer. So first fear of dying by due to swimming was gone. Now when you're sailing on board a ship, between the two ships, you what is called a jackstay. The rope is passed between the two ships for logistics purposes and even to human transfer. The waves happening down below, and there is a you holding one rope to the other, and you're crossing by. First time when you go there, your heart is in your mouth. First time when you are sitting on a horseback, your heart is still in your mouth. What if that horse drops you? What if the rope breaks? There's end of discussion. You will get sucked into either the huge giant propellers, or you're done with. Has it not happened? I'll give you a case of a submariner who was missing from the sailing submarine for about 18 hours, and he was floating, coming back from Europe, and he was found and taken back on board. When you emerge from these difficult situations in military, they train you to address those difficult situations. They make you crawl on toughest of situations. They make you run like 10 kilometers a day. They make a man out of you because there is no mother there to tell you, oh, my son, you got this little injury over here. Tomorrow there's a holiday for you. Next 1 week you will not go to school. No, no. There's no mother, no father. There's a tough training. They they tell you, wake up that patriotism in you. We are all patriots in our own right. It's just that we think that somebody else will do it. But when it comes to you and they tell you you are the one who gonna do it, then there is no Gupta or Baniya or South Indian or a West Indian or a Sikh or a non-Sikh. We all pull each other's leg, but we all are willing to fight the enemy. Like how? That is how, you know, you become brave by facing death or facing death-like situations. And the example of that is in 1999 when Kargil took place, I was president of Piramal Group. But I went to Kargil battle theater as an embedded journalist. फौज का नमक खाया है, कुछ उतारना है. So if that death could not scare me, I write my mind. For whom? I'm not gonna get a Bharat Ratna for this. But at least I'm shaking up somebody's you know conscious up. Give you a very beautiful small little example if you permit me.
Sure.
Former finance minister Yashwant Sinha had put up a tax on life-saving drugs, 25%. I wrote an article in the Indian Express. Have some sympathy, Mr. Sinha. You're budgeting nightmares for cancer patient. He was so upset with me. I was summoned there. This article had become a star question in Parliament. And he says, you are in the pharmaceutical field. You're trying to insult me. I had carried an apology letter. And it said that it was my pent-up anguish, blah, blah, blah. Para 2. I, however, stand by my article. Who called me? This guy threw me out. Yashwant Sinha. I was called by, thanks to Shakti Sinha, the secretary to Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, was given the presence. This tell me what happened. So when he heard me out completely, 3, 4, 5 days later, I was summoned again in finance ministry. The finance minister had been changed. Jaswant Singh ji came. That gave me motivation that if you are not fighting for your personal need, God listens. I should have been sacked by my company. I should have been thrown out by finance minister. My company should have been hurt by the finance ministry. None of these things happened. Finance minister was removed. Yashwant Sinha. I'm giving a record. The first time I'm speaking like this, check it out. It's in public domain. And Jaswant Singh ji came and he released an ordinance which said that no taxes on life-saving drugs, not only cancer drugs. What blessings I would have received. I put my neck into it. I did not have no pension that time. I was only living on my income from Piramal Group. I have two children, parents, my wife. I would have been on the road. But Forge military, in my case, Navy, built my foundations. And, and I am of the firm belief that if you are willing to take a risk for your nation, there's somebody who will bend backwards to help you. Gobind is an example of that.
But then what do you tell people who always, we are a risk averse society, Mr. Sikka. In India, the first thing a young child is actually taught to be risk averse because वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं कि नहीं बेटा पहले ये कर ले फिर नहीं तो ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा ऐसे हो जाएगा वैसे हो जाएगा. So how does one draw that line then? How does one draw that line between being a rational risk taker and being a maverick?
You see, we have gone away from our books, our history, our Shastras, Vedas. Read them. These books should be taught in schools. We should be taught what was Shushruta, who did plastic surgery. We should be taught what was Valmiki all about. We should be taught what happened in Jallianwala Bagh. We should be taught Hari Singh Nalwa. Single-handedly he would defeat. We should be taught the Saragadi battles are 21 Sikhs. No, we are not taught all this. They're missing. Instead, we are taught that Aurangzeb was a merciful man, that King Akbar was a very soft man, he was a secular man, that Shah Jahan, made the Taj Mahal. What about what about the hundreds of temples which are cut top down? We, I'm sure, Kaushal, if I asked you, are you aware that there are 10 temples in India built 2000 years ago, except two of them, all on 79-degree longitude? Are you aware of them?
No, I mean, it depends. These specific temples, why? Well, I'm not
They are
aware of.
Shiva temples, eight of them, and ninth is Hemkund Sahib, and 10th is Lakshman temple. But
Oh,
eight
yeah.
of them are Shiva temple.
Hmm.
From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, they are all in 79-degree longitude built. Where was the science? There was no GPS at that time. That means the technology to read the stars. And what was the reason behind putting them? So if you teach them all, teach them what happened in our past, how our people fought when it needed to be fought, when it needed to for them to fight, stand firm. What happened? When a Brahman became a soldier and soldier became a Brahmin, what happened? How it happens? You teach them at the age of 3 to 4. By the time they become 10, their brain is built. All that is gone away from our syllabus. How shameless have we become that Khilji, Bakhtiyar Khilji, who burnt Nalanda, we have Nalanda station called Bakhtiarpur station, even today, it is called a Bakhtiarpur station, not Nalanda station. Some 40, 50,000 saints, authors, fantastic teachers were burnt alive or killed. 80,000 books were burnt and more. No, you got to teach that history. Give a small example which I learnt my way, hard way. I went to Poland and I visited a museum and I saw children, small little children entering that museum. They were very happy, smiley, this, that, and the other. And when they came out, they were all crying. Why? Because Jews were killed in those gas chambers, which have now turned into museums. And on the walls, there are pictures of everybody by name who were burnt alive or gassed alive. And these children were their generation, part of their generation. When they came out, I asked this question to my Israeli friends: why torture your children at this young age? He says, no, you're not torturing them, you're making them soldiers. Now they will know that we paid a price for it. How many of us send our children to Kala Pani? We don't. There are only two kind of majority of people over there, Sikhs and Bengalis. Peer Sarwarkar, you mean to say he bled over there because he was a traitor? What are we talking? How we have twisted and turned this history to appease one in number. Nehru who wanted to become the first prime minister, and 20 lakh people lost lives. No mention. How is it that between Nehru, Indira, Rajiv, and Rahul Gandhi visited Babar grave and prostrated over there, but Nehru tried his level best to stop Dr. Rajendra Prasad from rejuvenating the Somnath temple. You're forgetting all this. You're forgetting that we had taken over the occupied Kashmir and returned. You're forgetting that we are not worried about Pakistanis. We have traitors within, and we should be willing to speak. I'm not anti any party. I'm not a political man. I'm a soldier. We have lost more people, more soldiers in Kashmir Valley at the hands of traitors, and we have not even shed a drop of blood for them or tear for them. There's a story of Captain Bana Singh who single-handedly won Siachen for us. Single-handedly won Siachen for us. And he was promised by the government 250 or 225 acres of land. His Paramveer Chakra is on date. I think he gets some 500 rupees or some 2,500. Some earlier he was given 500 rupees. Not an inch of land. No, sir. This 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 country hasn't come to us for free. We have given lives, sacrificed. This was not ahimsa, so-called Mahatma Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. No, it was not his gift to us or donation to us. We lost Bhagat Singh. He could have been saved by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. We could have saved Chandrasekhar Azad and other and the Sukhdev. We did not. They were killed one day before because these people were worried. It's a part of the history. For God's sake, open that history. Open those history books and let people see for themselves what transpired in my country. If not, at least on your channel, I can say Rajnikant Puranik. He wrote a book titled 97 Major Blunders by Nehru. That book has not been banned. It was released, I think, during Congress time. It is based on facts. Page by page, he has written from where facts. Nehru's 97 major blunders. People should make it as a textbook and show it to the world that this India is not somebody's private property. It is as much as Kushal's, as much Harinder Sikka's, or as far as any Gobind in my country. And we have to do our part of karma. Otherwise, we are very happy making some money here, some money there, and those people who are becoming, politicians, they have no questions to be asked. And you and me, peon takes a 10 rupees bribe, he's sacked and removed. What about somebody who's sitting with 10,000 crores? He's a minister still. No, sir. This country, my forefathers have shed blood. Today, if you go to Pakistan, and I go there, used to,
Mm.
abhi I cannot enter, or go to occupied Kashmir, they pray to God that India takes over because China is screwing them left and right. They are, and the polity has removed every last penny from the coffers. No, sir, this country is amazing. Handful are dividing us out and out and out. It will not happen. But we need to educate, for God's sake. We need to tell them what is our history. All
Mm.
gurukuls have vanished. All gurukuls have vanished. Why? You mean to say this iCloud, which is emerged now, and all the data is saved in iClouds. You mean to say there are no iClouds in which are burnt Shastras and Vedas and education is still surviving? The 6 inches space between our two ears is a powerful, powerful machinery. Anything can be dug out. No attempt is being made in that direction. We got to think about it. So through Gobind, I'm trying to tell with a small little example, tell them that if you have decided to do what you want to do, nobody can stop you.
Hmm. Sir, before we wrap up, one last question. You just said about that unfortunate incident of an army man who was promised 25 acres of land and has not received a single centimeter. Then what are the incentives? Then why should I care if the state doesn't care for me?
फौजी लोग पागल होते हैं sir. We don't care. Did I care when I went to Kargil war? No. Had I died there, who would have cared?
Hmm.
Nobody. No. गाना सुना आपने तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा?
Hmm.
They sing this song. There's a difference between real heroes and real heroes. Major difference. Today, real heroes, politicians, and cricketers have more combined money than the entire military forces' salaries put together. It's not fair. When when a Paramveer Chakra or a highest gallantry award he passes away, what Indira did to Sam Manekshaw, Gulzar's kind of people will never show this. She did not, Meghna. She's known for this. How many people are aware that for 30 odd years, Manekshaw was not given his salary? Why? Because he took on Indira Gandhi. These facts should be brought out because unless you bring it out and make it public, some other politician will get a funny idea. Oh, they're expendable commodity. Our soldiers are not expendable commodity. When overseas soldiers walk on the tarmac or on the in the aircrafts outside or inside in the airports and so on and so forth, people stand up, try to see this kind of respect given to my soldiers in uniform. Nobody cares. Nobody asks, offers them a glass of water. Nobody gives them seat. Shouldn't shouldn't that heart be melting that they are belonging to parents who are seeing their child go on a flight to nowhere and may not come back? No, they don't care. Gobind covers many things very subtly in a story like manner, in a fun like manner, right? But it tells a story. And that's why people say that it's put downable, uh, or whatever the good compliments I've been receiving. While writing, I find myself engulfed by those feelings. My English is not so good. My writing style is not so good, but my heart is in it. I love my India.
Well, sir, uh, uh, we need more people like you. Uh, and I wish you nothing but success and happiness in life. Um, क्या कहते हैं कि वो एक I can understand the emotion you have because like I told you offline, my nana was in the army, and I would hear these kinds of things from my nana growing up. My nana used to behave in a certain pattern. It's like I think you summed it up perfectly. क्यों करते हो आर्मी में जाने का काम? बोलते पागल होते हो so that pretty much summed up my emotion. But congratulations on this wonderful book, and once again, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you to all your listeners. Please read the book, share it if possible. And this book is available for the ask, free of cost if you like. Uh, aim is very simple. First of all, whatever income comes, Penguin knows where to send it. A girl child must be promoted. But if a parent can guide the child in those directions, I think I would have done my duty.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll end with गुरु गोबिंद सिंह चिड़िया ते मैं बाज लड़ावा 1.25 लाख से एक लड़ावा तभी कभी गोविंद सिंह नाम कहावा. So I think that sums up the feeling of India, the feeling of Punjabi culture, as both you and I share that commonly. People forget the gurus are not just the Sikh gurus. The gurus are Indian gurus. They are everybody's gurus. वो सब हमारे गुरु हैं. And I feel with a great pride. I always tell my fellow Punjabis, whether Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, Christian, at the end of the day, the gurus belong to all of us. The gurus are not of one particular sect, and the Khalistanis will never take that away from us. They can never take that away from us. I celebrate Nanak Dev Ji as much as anybody else. Guys, in the description of the podcast, you will find the link to buy the book. And you can also follow Mr. Sikka on X. I will leave all his social media details in the description too. As far as I'm concerned, you know the drill. You can become a member of the Cārvāka podcast. You can also buy my book if you want to. You can send your donations through UPI to kushalmehra at icici. If you can't do anything, just like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep supporting the Cārvāka podcast. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, namaste. Take care.